Tokyo, 1999. On the 47th floor of a typical office building crammed with cubicles, Masahi Tsuboyama is hard at work designing a bathroom. It isn't particularly special or modern. It isn't even clean. In fact, it's repulsive. But that is the point. You see, Tsuboyama-San makes games, and this bathroom is in Silent Hill. He doesn't know it yet, but Tsuboyama's creation is the start of what many call the greatest horror game ever made. Silent Hill was created by Keiichiro Toyama, a young graphic designer at Konami Entertainment Tokyo. Toyama had never directed a video game before. He joined Konami out of art school in 1994, creating characters and graphics for International Track and Field and the Sega CD version of Snatcher. In 1996, he was offered the chance to direct a new horror game during a time when Resident Evil was pushing the boundaries of suspense. He accepted. Like the town's visitors, Silent Hill's creators were tormented from the beginning. Team Silent, a group of 10 young developers, was made up of misfits from within the Konami staff. They were unable to mesh with other groups and frustrated with a lack of creative freedom. For many of them, Silent Hill was their last-ditch effort before leaving Konami for good. Team Silent had another challenge. Konami wanted a horror game that would be popular in the United States. The publisher had proven itself with Western audiences before, but top-selling games involved universal themes like sports and dancing, not story-driven horror. Perhaps Konami wanted to take advantage of Sony's dominance in the console war of the 1990s. The PlayStation had launched in North America a year earlier and quickly outsold its competitors. As a result, Sony's entertainment system had become the go-to platform for developers, and North America was the best-selling region of all. In a way, Silent Hill was also a second chance for Konami. Its previous attempt to reach American audiences with Snatcher on Sega CD was critically acclaimed, but in the end only sold a few thousand copies. Silent Hill was imagined as a small American tourist town with a dark past. Toyama was interested in the occult, which played heavily into the story. The result is a mishmash of Western and European writings with just a hint of Japanese influence. For example, the number 4 was an unlucky number. The Twin Peaks TV series by David Lynch influenced the town's look and storytelling techniques. Stephen King was also a rich source of ideas. The town's fog is reminiscent of The Mist, as is the fact that monsters cause radios to emit static. Like Carrie, Silent Hill's Alessa is a lonely outcast with a domineering mother who seeks psychic vengeance. References to his work are sprinkled throughout the game, including posters advertising his movies, a child's Red Bull from The Shining, and Backman Road, an homage to the writer's pen name. There's even a poster of King that can be found hanging in Silent Hill's Cafe 5-2. With its 3D graphics and CD-ROMs that could hold more data, Sony's PlayStation ushered in a new age of interactive storytelling. Artist Takayoshi Sato had been teaching Konami staff to animate in 3D, but was not allowed to do it himself. In a bid to earn respect from his supervisors, Sato volunteered to create all of Silent Hill's cutscenes by himself. Over the course of 2.5 years, Sato lived in the Team Silent office, staying after work to painstakingly create each character and render each scene on his co-workers' Unix-based computers. He modeled each character by hand, using Western film characters as inspiration for their costumes, such as the nurse from Exorcist 3 and Florence Tanner from The Legend of Hell House. When it came time to compose the music, Akira Yamaoka, who had written scores for Contra Hard Score and Sparkster, nominated himself to take on the task, making his case straight to the project supervisors. He claimed that he was the only one capable of the task, and many would agree. Silent Hill's soundtrack is a mix of mandolin, Twin Peaks-like guitar, heart-pounding drums, and sounds you wouldn't want to hear in the dark, but often do.
斬新で何が一番その 聞き手がとって何が一番こうなんていうんですかね、聞いていて耳から入ってきた聴覚から入ってきたものがどういうふうに刺激になるのかっていうより刺激的なものっていうのを求めてるんで、彼のサウンドは別にそれはそれでいいと思うんですけど、その論理的なフォーマットとのっとったサウンドと、クリエイトした新しくクリエイトしたサウンドのそこは僕は一番違うと思ってます。
The unconventional score, paired with Team Silent's visuals, created a unique psychological experience not seen before in video games. Rather than witness a horrific scene, players happen upon the aftermath. Blood-stained beds and hooks, bodies hanging on the wall. The imagination is often more effective than upfront information.
その場にいたくないんだけども、なんか興味をそそられてしまうっていうか、そのさっきも言いましたけど、その異様な感じですか。
Perhaps it was fate, the mismatched team of Konami outcasts designed to go against the grain. Eventually, the team decided to ignore the horror limits that Konami had given them and make Silent Hill the emotional journey that would make it famous. The gamble paid off. Harry Mason's harrowing journey to find his lost daughter was released to critical acclaim and is still one of the most influential games of all time. The game sold over 2 million copies, which gained Silent Hill a spot on Sony's American PlayStation Greatest Hits. Bolstered by their success, Konami gave Team Silent the green light to create a sequel for the new PlayStation 2 console. Just 3 months after the first game's release, production began on Silent Hill 2. Back in Tokyo, Toyama leaves Konami, and the directional reins for Silent Hill 2 are handed to Tsuboyama, who served as background and motion designer for the first game. Key members of Team Silent return to the project, including artist Masahiro Ito, music and sound designer Akira Yamaoka, and CG character animator Takayoshi Sato. The decision to make a Silent Hill sequel is a financial one for Konami and a creative one for Team Silent. As producer Akihiro Imamura would later explain, the PlayStation 1 felt restricting for such a project. A second game had become a second chance. But if they failed, Silent Hill may have been shelved forever. Being one of the first developers for PlayStation 2 and Xbox simultaneously is a learning process for everyone involved. No other console before them has offered such realistic graphics and sophisticated audio. But there were issues that had to be figured out on the go. Luckily, there are more people to navigate this new terrain. Team Silent has grown to about 50 people, including 15 programmers. Sato no longer has to live at the office. Motion capture technology, while still in its infancy, allows him to build and improve animation sequences from actor performance instead of creating every frame by hand. He still has to add subtle details, however, such as muscle movements in the face to make each scene more realistic.
I couldn't trust the, face motion capture. That motion capture system took just the, position of the skin. If you open the mouth, muscles around here is tightened, but a motion capture cannot capture it. But if I make them in front of a mirror, I can notice it. I can capture it. That's most of this biggest reason.
While challenging to master, the new technology offers Team Silent a new playground in which to explore Silent Hill's rich psychological themes. Team Silent is challenged with creating a sequel for a financially successful game while balancing their vision for a rich, interactive story. In this way, the developers take several risks. For example, Silent Hill 2 is not a direct sequel. The first game was similar in terms of control and animation style to Resident Evil, whereas Silent Hill 2 takes on a look and a feel all of its own. While the new game takes place in the eponymous town, all the action is in another neighborhood, and the story does not link to that of Harry Mason, the first game's protagonist. Team Silent abandons the occult aspect of the first game and moves the central conflict from external forces to those rattling inside the main character's head. The town of Silent Hill is still filled with monsters, but this time they reflect those of the main character. As players wander through Silent Hill's fog and shadow, they are constantly met with themes of duality: light, dark, eros, and thanatos. Through this duality, players are faced with the notion that everyone has two sides, the one they show the world and the one they keep hidden. What happens then when the outside world reflects your inner demons? This question becomes the theme for every Silent Hill game that follows. What sin is James hiding from, and what are the other people he encounters? Team Silent uses monsters to give us clues, strange, distorted figures dripping with subtext, among other things. But when it comes time to punish James for his sins, there is only one who can do the job: an executioner who would live on in infamy. What makes a monster iconic? Is it the way it looks, the way it moves, or the way it makes you feel? In the world of video games, there are few monsters as recognizable as Silent Hill's Pyramid Head and Demented Nurses. These two creatures are now synonymous with the franchise, but were originally designed for a single purpose: to torment the mind of James Sunderland. Silent Hill 2 is an unsettling experience, not just for its gloomy settings and disturbing monsters, but what those monsters represent. Creature designer Masahiro Ito tested many versions of Akai-san Kakato, the red pyramid thing. The formidable creature resembles a man, but his covered face adds an air of unworldly mystery. Pyramid Head, as he's become known to the world, lacks a voice. Pained groans emit from beneath his trademark helmet as he sways and shakes, implying that he too is being tormented. Human beings are hardwired to recognize and observe facial features. By hiding Pyramid Head's face and combining a human silhouette with an imposing geometric structure, Ito denies audiences our instinctual need to see and understand. Eventually, players must face off against not one, but two Pyramid Head monsters at once. According to Ito, the Great Knife, Pyramid Head's signature weapon, was originally going to be one half of a giant pair of scissors. This would signify that Pyramid Head and James are two sides to the same person. Pairs of scissors scattered throughout the room hint at this original version, but alas, Ito ran out of time and was unable to create a second Great Knife. Throughout the game, players are confronted by various monsters that come from James's psyche. Apart from Pyramid Head, the most well-known of these is the Bubblehead Nurse, a gruesome creature that evokes both attraction and dread. Aside from its frightening appearance, Ito designed the nurse monster to represent a woman being smothered. The nurses shake and contort their covered faces frantically as they attack James in scantily clad costumes. While designed specifically to haunt players in Silent Hill 2, the nurses struck a chord with fans and future game developers. Bubblehead nurses have since become synonymous with the franchise, thus giving up their intended purpose and adopting a life of their own. According to Silent Hill lore and Ito, monsters in the town appear differently to each person depending on their own haunted past.
モンスターを、考える上でまず最初にテーマとしたことが人間のパーツをモンスターのどこかに必ず取り入れて、でそこからプレイヤーがモンスターを見てできるだけ元は人なんだっていうところを想像させた上で、そこで
While playing Silent Hill 2, players see everything from James's point of view. In keeping with Silent Hill tradition, players are left to speculate on their own. Other creatures that James must fight are noticeably feminine in appearance, from the acid-spewing lying figure to broken mannequins. Clearly, the source of his pain derives from the memory of his wife. It's three-dimensional characters like this, both in terms of personality and graphics, that help make Silent Hill 2 such a classic.
You must have hated me.
Each of the characters in Silent Hill 2 is carefully designed by Sato, who adds small details to make them even more real. While braving the horrors of Silent Hill, players encounter several characters that have embarked on quests of their own. Despite a striking resemblance to James's late wife, Maria was designed to be attractive but still approachable as an imperfect human being. Eddie Dombrowski is running from something else. He's a bit of an oaf, described by Team Silent as a simple, ordinary soul with nothing to recommend. Here, Sato draws his face with a look that's both dumbfounded and confrontational. And finally, there's little Laura. She may be a brat, but Laura is the only innocent soul in the town of Silent Hill. Her presence in town is like a ripple on the water, impacting both James and Eddie on their journeys. To bring these rich characters to life, Team Silent relies on new motion capture technology and a group of ambitious actors. Unlike the first Silent Hill game, members of the development team are able to write and direct emotional scenes that could be acted out in real time. Konami wants another hit for Western audiences, so voice performances are recorded in English. Perhaps the most important character, that of Mary and Maria, is given to Monica Taylor Horgan. Of the two characters, Maria is apparently easier to play and more fun. To capture the fragility in Mary, Horgan taps into the loss of her mother and the sadness of knowing that she is moving away from Japan. Horgan's performance of Mary's letter is an emotional one that's become the backbone of Silent Hill 2. She believes it's her best performance ever.
These last few years since I became ill, I'm so sorry for what I did to you, did to us.
As with the first game, Team Silent modelers drew heavy inspiration from American film directors. Twin Peaks and other works by David Lynch continue to inspire the look and feel of Silent Hill, from its mountain landscapes to quaint shops, seemingly untouched by time. Alfred Hitchcock's masterful use of camera angles to generate suspense, David Cronenberg's mix of psychological and physical horror, and David Fincher's probe into the criminal mind can all be felt in the world of Silent Hill 2.
I know you.
While designing the game's cast of characters, Takayoshi Sato seeks costume inspiration from film and pop culture. Mary and Laura's outfits appear to have been taken right out of the film Con Air. Maria's sassy ensemble is modeled after an outfit worn by Christina Aguilera at the 1999 Teen Choice Awards. Fans of David Lynch's film Blue Velvet may also notice similarities between the character Dorothy and the two characters from Silent Hill 2. Like Dorothy, Maria performs at a bar, has an unpredictable personality, and flirts with the main character.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real.
Angela Orozco, meanwhile, shares Dorothy's abusive past, is looking for her missing family, and wields a kitchen knife.
Get out of there! Get out!
2 years from when they started, Team Silent is ready to show its masterpiece to the world, but marketing Silent Hill 2 is easier said than done. Several commercials are made for different regions, but they can show little without giving away the story. Instead, quick cuts of gameplay footage and cutscenes are stitched together to show off Silent Hill 2's atmosphere and horror elements. Silent Hill 2 is released, with a different subtitle depending on the region. Poem of the Last Moment in Japan, Inner Fear in Europe, and Restless Dreams in North America. The European edition also includes a making-of DVD, featuring trailers, an artwork gallery, and a documentary on the game's development. Later in 2001, an extended version of Silent Hill 2 was released in North America. The game included a second scenario, called Born from a Wish, in which players assume the role of Maria before she meets James. Finally, in 2002, the game is ported to Windows computers. Will Konami's gamble pay off? Will audiences understand, much less appreciate, the game in all its subtlety. All Team Silent can do is wait, but not for long. Silent Hill 2 sells over 1 million copies in the first month of its release in North America, Japan, and Europe. Just as Konami had hoped, the game is especially popular among North American audiences. Video game critics praise it for its graphics and atmosphere, testament to the new engine and background designs. But the game's true significance will be revealed over time.
I knew it. You too. You're just like him, James.
Decades later, the doomed love story of James and Mary continues to resonate with audiences worldwide. Countless players return to Silent Hill 2 and forget their complaints of PlayStation's past. While many games of the time, once regarded as figureheads of the genre, come to feel outdated, this one is still considered a masterpiece. Of course, as graphics improve, all games eventually show their age. But Silent Hill 2, with its haunting themes, visuals, and music, has become like a favorite memory in which we block out any moments that fail to live up to our emotional needs. Its impact lives on. While not without its faults, Silent Hill 2 is still considered to be one of the greatest horror games ever made. Its deep storytelling has inspired future game developers, artists, and filmmakers for decades to come. Team Silent disbanded after Silent Hill 4, and future installments were outsourced to Western game studios. However, sequels, films, comic books, and video game crossovers just seem to make fans yearn for even more of their special place. While all have their merits and take on similar themes, none of them get in your head like Silent Hill 2. The closest fans have come was PT, a PlayStation 4 demo revealed to be Silent Hills. Developed by Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima and acclaimed filmmaker Guillermo del Toro, both known for going against the status quo, Silent Hills gave fans hope that the franchise would return to its Japanese roots. Sadly, the game was cancelled. Kojima and del Toro may never get the chance to create their own Silent Hill title. But even if they did, it would be impossible to assume they'd make a game with as much lasting impact as Silent Hill 2. The creators, Sato, Yamaoka, and Tsuboyama, didn't know it at the time, but Team Silent would change the way that gamers looked at the world forever. The next time fog rolls in, or you find yourself in a decaying bathroom, Silent Hill will be waiting.